Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Tuesday, October the 9th, and welcome to our video commentary. It was 51 years ago today, October the 9th, 1967, that Che Guevara was executed in Bolivia. For those of you who may know some of the story or part of the story, Che Guevara was originally born in Argentina. He met Fidel Castro in Mexico in 1955 or 56. Then they went to Cuba, and when Castro came to power, Che Guevara was one of the inner circle of revolutionary leaders. Eventually, he got a bureaucratic job, but apparently he was never happy with that kind of a life. And 1966, he disappeared from public view. Nobody knew who he was. And many people were speculating as to what was going to happen to Che Guevara. Then in early 1967, he showed up in Bolivia. They had somehow brought him into Bolivia with a fake passport and all of that. And he was now in the mountains of Bolivia, in the jungles of Bolivia, starting a revolution. The revolution was a total disaster for Che Guevara and the men that they were with. It was a disaster for a lot of reasons. Number one, the locals never really supported him. He was never able to connect with the local people, and that, of course, made it very difficult to have a revolution. Also, the Bolivian army used very effective special forces to hunt him down. Now, some of those special forces were trained by the CIA, of course, but nevertheless, they were very effective in hunting him down, and eventually they did. When he was arrested, that would have been the day before, October 8th, when he was arrested and then subsequently executed the next day, they found a diary among his possessions, and the diary tells the story of a very frustrated man who was extremely frustrated with the lack of support that they were getting from the locals, the lack of supplies. Even in the diary, I think he feels isolated, as if he's been, left there in Bolivia without any help. And eventually, of course, he was captured. He was going to be captured sooner or later because these men were tired, they were hungry. Even Che Guevara himself apparently was suffering from some respiratory problems. They had no way of getting around, no gasoline or anything like that. They were just living, a life in the jungle without, any way of surviving. So they were going to be caught eventually, or even perhaps, they were going to die just from being out in the jungle as long as they were. Now, once he was executed, of course, he became the big idol of the left, and you see these T-shirts with a Che Guevara picture, and he's kind of this romantic revolutionary. But of course, he's nothing like that at all in real life. In real life, he was a criminal, he was a killer, a man who didn't believe in democracy. I think it is kind of ironic that here you have Che Guevara now being used as a capitalist tool, when in fact he hated capitalism. You see his face in some commercials, and it's got to be amusing to the people who knew him best, because the last thing he thought he would ever turn into is a symbol of capitalism, or at least a face being used to promote this product or that product in a capitalist system. So he was executed 51 years ago. I think there was a justice the way they did it, and we're all better off. We're all better off because this man is no longer around. And I know that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Cubans who were executed by the Cuban government, and in many ways by orders of Che Guevara, who agree with me. Thank you for watching. We have all of these videos over at YouTube. We have them on Twitter and on my blog. And if today is your birthday, happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.